Road Trips and Missing Persons by Adriana in the Snow. Chapter 1. Patton had just been getting himself groceries. He was planning on making homemade macaroni and cheese for himself this weekend, and went around the store grabbing all kinds of different cheeses, some of which he did not recognize the names of and might not actually make good macaroni and cheese, but how could he resist the cute little goats on it, and the little mini shell pasta? He also picked up some heavy cream and then headed to the cash registers with his spoils. He'd been a bit distracted with his plans for cooking when he'd gotten into the car to drive home and hadn't been paying as much attention as he probably should have. The next thing he knew, there was a knife at his throat. He paused. "Hi?" he said tentatively. "Put your keys in the ignition and drive," a dark voice said in his ear. Patton took a deep breath. "Sure," he said, reaching forward to slowly do as the man asked. "Any particular direction we're going in?" I don't know. Just drive," he said. "I'll decide later." "All right," Patton agreed and put the car in reverse. "Can I turn my head to make sure I'm not backing into anything?" he asked. The knife retreated a bit in answer. Patton turned his head slowly and looked back while letting his foot off the brake, and quickly scanned his new friend out of the corner of his eye. There wasn't much to be seen. He had a dark hoodie covering most of his frame, but a few tufts of dark hair stuck out of it, framing a pale face with a streak of blood down his cheek and a purpling bruise near his eye. Patton didn't indicate that he'd seen any of this, instead choosing to turn back to face front and drive out of the grocery store parking lot. The knife returned after that, though it didn't touch him this time, it just hovered. Patton chose to drive toward the interstate, careful to keep his hands on the steering wheel and make no sudden movements. "Why are you getting on the interstate?" the man behind him asked. There was caution in his tone, but he didn't seem too suspicious of the move. "You wanted me to drive, and I don't know where or how long. There's a lot more driving to do out here than in town," Patton explained. "Is that okay?" He responded. "Yeah, sure." So Patton continued to drive. Eventually, the knife started to retreat a bit, though it was still there. About 30 minutes into the ride, Patton decided it was okay to speak. "Would you like to come sit in the passenger seat?" he asked softly. "You can lean the knife across the console at my side. It'd probably be a bit more comfortable." The knife returned to Patton's neck. "No," he said firmly. "Okay," Patton agreed calmly. Yet, despite his initial reaction, it was less than 5 minutes later that the knife dropped a bit again. "I'm moving to the front seat," he grumbled. Patton suppressed a smile. There was shifting around in the back, and then a body threw itself up into the passenger seat. He scrambled into a sitting position and rushed to point the knife back at Patton. Patton just kept driving. After a few minutes, he relaxed a bit again. Patton bit back the words, "Put your seatbelt on," and instead said, "Figured out where we're going yet?" He replied. "Do you know any places associated with Green Bellow Foods?" "There's an abandoned factory near Livington. Would that work?" "Yeah," he nodded. "Let's go there." "Okay, but fair warning, it is about a 3-hour drive from here." "Great," he hissed. Patton glanced over at him. He was still just a blob of black fabric for the most part, as the hoodie still covered most of his body. But when he looked over at Patton, he revealed a bit more of his face. Patton was surprised by how young it looked. He looked like a teenager, likely not even a legal adult. "Since we're going to be driving for a while," Patton broached after a few more minutes to let him settle in the front seat, "can we get something to eat? I have a lot of cheese in the bag, but I'm lactose intolerant, so that's probably not a good idea for a closed car." The boy started. "If you're lactose intolerant, why do you have an entire bag full of just cheese?" "And heavy cream and shell pasta. I was going to make mac and cheese when I get home." "That doesn't answer the question." Patton noticed that the knife had drifted away from him as they spoke. "I like cheese," Patton said with a shrug. "Anyway, I can go through a drive-through," he tempted. Patton saw him bite his lip nervously out of the corner of his eye. "Fine, sure, I guess. Just, you're going to have to use cash so no one can track your credit card." "Okay then," Patton agreed with a small smile in his direction. "We'll get off at the next exit." Yeah, okay," he said. Don't try any funny business?" Oh, goodness, he was a baby. "Of course not." Signs for the next exit started popping up a few minutes later. They passed a blue sign with a couple of restaurant emblems on it. Looks like your options are Wendy's, Chick-fil-A, Hardee's, or Freddy's. What are you thinking? I don't know. I don't care. You have to have some preference, Patton said. Go ahead and pick. He hesitated. Maybe Freddy's? I don't think I've tried that before. Sounds good, Patton chirped. He pulled off at the exit into a medium-sized town. The exit dumped them straight onto the town's main street, and Patton could see the sign for Freddy's a bit down the road. So, Patton fished while they were stuck at a red light. Why Green Bellow Foods? No reason. Why do you care? He asked, suddenly intense and defensive. Whoa, Patton placated. I'm just curious. I'm the one driving you over 3 hours to get there, after all. I just wondered why. Right, the boy said, curling in a bit on himself. After a moment he mumbled, My dad knew the owner. Did he now? Patton thought. He didn't comment on the use of the word knew. The light turned green and Patton glanced over at him. How old are you? He asked. You don't need to know. Patton hummed as the light turned green. What if I guess and you tell me if I'm right? He didn't respond, instead crossing his arms over his chest defensively. Let's see, Patton said anyway, glancing over at him. 12? What? No, I'm 15. Then he paused. Hey! 15, huh? Patton asked. Is that why you didn't just steal a car? You don't know how to drive? His new friend gave him a wounded look that edged on a pout. What do you want to eat? Patton asked. He bit his lip. What type of food is there? Mostly burgers and fries, but also chicken sandwiches and hot dogs and ice cream. Well, frozen custard, but ice cream. Just order me a cheeseburger and fries. And ice cream! I don't need ice cream, he mumbled. Well, I'm getting ice cream. Do whatever you want, he grumbled. Patton narrowed his eyes at him. The kid wanted, no, he needed ice cream, Patton decided. Patton pulled into the Freddy's drive-thru and ordered 2 burgers with fries and drinks and a Dirt and Worms concrete. Patton reached for his wallet, and the boy startled, but he didn't instinctively reach for the knife, Patton noted. Just getting my wallet, Patton soothed, continuing to move slowly to take it out. He flipped open his wallet and took out a $20 bill. The boy relaxed again. Patton greeted the drive-thru worker with a cheery, hello, and exchanged the money for their food before thanking the employee and driving off. He pulled into a parking space in the Freddy's parking lot. Do you mind if we eat real quick before hitting the road? He hesitated. No funny business? No funny business, Patton swore. Then fine. Patton put the car into park, and they started to eat their food. So what's your name? He got a suspicious look in return. My name's Patton, he offered. You can just tell me a nickname. You can call me Anxiety. Patton frowned a bit at the name, but accepted it for the moment. He balled up the burger wrapper and stuck it in the bag. Anxiety, who had just been holding his awkwardly, followed his lead. Now for dessert, Patton enthused, and then made a show of freezing. Wait, I forgot. I'm lactose intolerant. How do you forget? And I forgot my Lactaid pill. Guess you'll have to eat it while I drive. Anxiety glared at him, but took the ice cream. If Patton caught him smiling just a bit as Patton started to drive again, he didn't mention it.